The Southern Caribbean, a region known for its turquoise waters and vibrant cultures, is now transforming into an unexpected stage for international drama. Once a tranquil expanse dotted with sun-soaked islands, it has become the focal point of a rapidly intensifying geopolitical standoff. In these waters, a tense military standoff is unfolding, with powerful navies maneuvering for position and influence. The calm of the sea belies the tension simmering just beneath the surface as rival forces test each other's resolve. A formidable U.S. naval contingent now operates near the coast of Venezuela, its presence unmistakable. The sight of American warships so close to Venezuelan territory has sent shockwaves through the region, escalating already high tensions between Washington and Caracas. Officially, the United States frames this deployment as a counter-narcotics mission, aimed at disrupting the flow of illegal drugs from South America to North America. Yet the sheer scale and sophistication of the operation suggest that there may be deeper, more strategic motives at play. The deployment of an aircraft carrier flanked by advanced destroyers and support vessels signals a level of commitment far beyond routine patrols. This is a show of force designed to send a clear message, not just to Venezuela, but to the entire region and the world. Venezuela, for its part, views the U.S. naval buildup as a direct provocation. The government has placed its military on high alert, mobilizing troops and coastal defenses in anticipation of possible escalation. The atmosphere is one of suspicion and readiness as both sides brace for the unexpected. The timing of this confrontation is critical. Venezuela is already grappling with severe political turmoil and a deepening economic crisis. Streets that were once bustling are now empty, as citizens face shortages of food, medicine, and basic necessities. The nation's instability adds a volatile element to the unfolding drama. For years, the United States has exerted pressure on the Maduro government through sanctions and diplomatic isolation. Now, with warships on the horizon, that pressure has taken on a new, more tangible form. The presence of the U.S. Navy adds a new dimension to the ongoing struggle for power in Caracas. The question on everyone's mind: is this operation truly about stopping drug trafficking, or is it a calculated push for regime change in Venezuela? As protests continue in Caracas and international observers debate the true motives, uncertainty hangs in the air. The stakes could not be higher. Regional leaders are watching closely, aware that any miscalculation could threaten the fragile stability of the Caribbean and Latin America as a whole. The outcome of this standoff will shape the future of the region for years to come. As U.S. and Venezuelan warships patrol these contested waters, their radars scanning the horizon for any sign of escalation, the world holds its breath. The Caribbean, once a symbol of escape and relaxation, now stands at the center of a high-stakes geopolitical chess match, with peace and stability hanging in the balance. The U.S. has deployed a formidable naval force in the Caribbean. The USS George Washington, a Nimitz-class carrier, leads the charge. Accompanied by a carrier strike group, it showcases immense military power. The USS Bataan adds a ground force capability, raising questions about the mission's true scope. Surveillance aircraft and drones enhance the operation's reach. While officially counter-narcotics, the deployment suggests broader strategic goals. The U.S. naval forces boast unmatched military technology. The USS George Washington carries over 60 aircraft, including F/A-18S and E-2 Hawkeyes. Escort ships with the Aegis combat system provide formidable defense. The USS Bataan offers amphibious capabilities, projecting force onto land. Submarines, though unconfirmed, likely support the strike group. This multi-domain force can dominate any conflict zone. It's a clear signal of American influence and intent. Venezuela's military, the FAN-B, is on high alert. With significant personnel, it's a cornerstone of Maduro's power. The Venezuelan Navy defends the coastline with aging frigates and submarines. The Air Force operates Russian-made Su-30 jets but faces maintenance challenges. Venezuela's strategy focuses on asymmetric warfare using terrain and militia. The military's strengths lie in numbers and specific deterrent systems. It's a defensive force prepared for costly resistance. The U.S. deployment highlights a stark power imbalance. The carrier strike group alone surpasses Venezuela's entire military. U.S. jets have superior technology and support systems. Destroyers and cruisers outmatch Venezuela's frigates in missile capacity. U.S. submarines have greater endurance and stealth. This is not a contest of equals, it's global power projection versus national defense. Venezuela's defenses could inflict casualties but can't challenge U.S. control. The standoff underscores the vast technological gap. Venezuela's response to the growing U.S. military presence in the region is nothing short of defiant. As American warships patrol nearby waters and tensions escalate, the Venezuelan government refuses to back down. Instead, they have chosen to project strength and resilience, determined to show both their people and the world that they will not be intimidated by foreign powers. The sight of Venezuelan naval vessels patrolling their own coastline and soldiers standing guard with unwavering resolve sends a clear message. Venezuela is ready to defend its sovereignty at any cost. President Nicolas Maduro has taken center stage, vocally condemning the U.S. actions as blatant imperialist aggression. In passionate speeches before crowds waving Venezuelan flags, he frames the crisis as a struggle for national dignity and independence. Maduro's rhetoric is designed to rally domestic support, uniting citizens against what he describes as a foreign threat to their way of life. His public appearances, surrounded by loyal troops and supporters, reinforce the image of a nation standing together in the face of adversity. The Venezuelan military has been placed on permanent alert. Across the country, air bases are bustling with activity as fighter jets are readied for potential conflict. Along the coast, soldiers reinforce defensive positions, and anti-aircraft systems are deployed to guard against any incursion. This heightened state of readiness is not just for show, it's a calculated move to deter any possible intervention and to reassure the population that their armed forces are prepared for any scenario. The Bolivarian militia, a civilian force loyal to the government, has also stepped into the spotlight. They conduct public drills and parades, waving national flags and demonstrating their commitment to the country's defense. These displays are meant to project an image of national unity and resolve, showing that not only the military but ordinary citizens as well are ready to stand up for Venezuela's sovereignty. On the diplomatic front, Venezuela is actively seeking support from powerful allies such as Russia and China. High-level meetings and symbolic handshakes underscore the importance of these relationships. By strengthening ties with these nations, Venezuela hopes to counterbalance U.S. influence and secure vital political, economic, and military backing. Venezuelan officials have also taken their case to the international stage. At the United Nations and other global forums, they argue that the U.S. presence in the region is a direct threat to peace and stability. Through speeches, press conferences, and diplomatic outreach, they seek to rally international opinion against what they describe as unwarranted interference in their internal affairs. The ultimate goal of these efforts is to isolate the United States diplomatically and to build a broad coalition of global opposition. Inside Venezuela, anti-U.S. protests are organized to demonstrate popular resistance, while international media coverage highlights the growing divide between Washington and Caracas. This is a strategy of both defiance and diplomatic maneuvering. By combining military readiness with international outreach, Venezuela aims to strengthen its position and deter any potential aggression. The stakes in this confrontation are incredibly high. With regional stability hanging in the balance, the world watches closely as Venezuela navigates a complex web of threats and alliances, determined to defend its sovereignty and shape its own destiny. Officially, the U.S. deployment targets drug trafficking. Venezuela is a major transit point for cocaine. However, many suspect broader motives given the military assets involved. The U.S. has a history of using force for political objectives in Latin America. The deployment may be a coercive tool against the Maduro regime. The choice of military assets suggests power projection, not just law enforcement. The operation likely serves dual objectives: counter-narcotics and strategic messaging. It's a complex interplay of security and political pressure. The Caribbean standoff affects the entire region. Colombia and Brazil watch cautiously, fearing refugee crises. Caribbean nations face economic disruption and diplomatic challenges. Russia and China, allies of Venezuela, may respond to U.S. pressure. The risk of miscalculation is high, with military forces in close proximity. A small incident could escalate into a wider conflict. The situation demands careful diplomacy to avoid disaster. Regional stability hangs in the balance. As of August 31, 2025, the standoff remains tense. The Caribbean Sea, a region known for its vibrant culture and stunning landscapes, now finds itself at the center of a geopolitical storm. The tension between the United States and Venezuela has escalated to a point where the world holds its breath, watching closely as events unfold. The presence of military forces from both nations has turned these waters into a potential flashpoint, with each side wary of the other's next move. The U.S. continues its patrols, while Venezuela stays on high alert. The sight of U.S. Navy ships patrolling the Caribbean waters is a stark reminder of the ongoing tension. Meanwhile, Venezuelan military personnel remain vigilant, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of escalation. The tropical harbors, usually bustling with trade and tourism, now echo with the sounds of military readiness. The air is thick with anticipation, as both nations prepare for any eventuality. The future is uncertain, with several possible scenarios. As the sun sets over the Caribbean Sea, casting a golden hue over the waters, the horizon seems to mirror the uncertainty of the situation. Several scenarios could unfold in the coming days. Will diplomacy prevail, or will the region be plunged into conflict? The answers remain elusive, hidden beyond the horizon. De-escalation could see the U.S. withdraw, claiming success. A peaceful resolution could lead to the withdrawal of U.S. forces, with officials declaring a successful mission. Such a scenario would bring relief to the region, allowing the Caribbean to return to its peaceful ways. However, this outcome hinges on delicate negotiations and mutual understanding. Prolonged tension may lead to a new normal of military confrontation. If tensions persist, the Caribbean could become accustomed to the sight of military ships patrolling its waters. This new normal would cast a long shadow over the region, affecting trade, tourism, and the daily lives of those who call the Caribbean home. The constant presence of military forces would serve as a reminder of the fragile peace that hangs in the balance. A direct clash, though unlikely, remains a dangerous possibility. The prospect of a direct military clash, while unlikely, cannot be entirely dismissed. Such an event would have far-reaching consequences not only for the nations involved but for the entire region. The world watches with bated breath, hoping that cooler heads will prevail and that diplomacy will triumph over aggression. The outcome depends on political calculation and diplomatic effort. Behind closed doors, diplomats work tirelessly to find a resolution. The outcome of this standoff will depend on the political calculations of both nations and their willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. The international community stands ready to assist, offering a platform for negotiations and a path to peace. Is the U.S. goal limited to counter-narcotics, or is regime change the aim? The motives behind the U.S. presence in the Caribbean are a topic of intense debate. While officials cite counter-narcotics operations as the primary objective, others speculate that regime change may be the underlying goal. This uncertainty adds another layer of complexity to an already tense situation, fueling protests and discussions around the world. The Caribbean holds its breath, hoping for peace. As families gather around their televisions watching the latest developments, the desire for peace is palpable. Children play on the beaches, unaware of the tension that looms just offshore. The people of the Caribbean, known for their resilience and spirit, hope for a resolution that will allow them to continue their lives in peace and harmony. The world watches, aware of the thin line between show and use of force. Global news outlets report on the standoff, highlighting the delicate balance between demonstrating military might and engaging in actual conflict. The United Nations, a symbol of international cooperation, stands as a reminder of the importance of diplomacy in resolving such crises. The world watches, hoping that this tense and uncertain horizon will give way to a brighter, more peaceful future.